A new decade, a new Batman. His newest iteration is different though. Is it a good different or a bad different? Well, here the opinions might differ more than in previous appearances of the Caped Crusader. Hi there, it's Micha. Check out this video to find out what I think of it. Gotham is soaked in crime and corruption. Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, is in his second year as a crime fighter. He can't be everywhere, but criminals start to fear the darkness, as he could be there, waiting to strike, making them overall wary. The police just began to embrace his help by establishing the bat signal, though not all cops are on board with the vigilante. When a serial killer with a knack for riddles starts to kill off politicians and city officials, Jim Gordon even brings him to the crime scenes, as the killer also leaves greeting cards addressed to the Batman. There's also a woman that vanishes in connection with it, which calls her friend Selina into action, joining forces with the Caped Crusader. She was last seen in a nightclub owned by Carmine Falcone and managed by Oswald Cobblepot. Together, Gordon, Selina and Bruce try to figure out what happened to the girl and what motivates the murder spree and how it is all connected. I was a bit surprised of how the movie turned out. Not having seen any trailer or clips beforehand, I only heard it would be again a dark approach to the material. The movie is inspired by the darker and more atmospheric comic arcs of a Batman canon like Frank Miller's Year One. Dark in regards of visuals but also story-wise. This translates to the screen also being mainly kept in dark colors and the overall atmosphere reaching depressive tones. It is a completely different approach to Batman than we have ever seen before. There is no innocent fun as in the TV show, no surreal craziness as in Tim Burton's movies, and no goofiness as in the Schumacher entries. The movie is closer to the Christopher Nolan and the Zack Snyder versions, but still different. It adds an intentional feeling of hopelessness to the characters, which is a recurring topic in the movie and is even addressed at the end of a movie. The biggest difference though is the way the story is told. There is no over-the-top action or craziness, the approach is more based in realism. Catwoman is not even given that name in the movie and there is no fantastic element like cats bringing her back to life.
You got a lot of cats.
I have a thing about strays.
The Penguin doesn't have a beak-like nose and walks normally, except for an allusion to previous versions of the villain when he is having his hands and feet zip-tied together and walks in the tiptoe way we know from the past. One of the few funny moments the film offers. As mentioned, the tone is more solemn, registers less as a comic movie and more like a film noir, a detective story where the appearance of the hero, the fact that he is a hero, is less important than the detective work he does. This is what the movie concentrates on, telling us the story of a conspiracy which is brought into the light by the Riddler, here portrayed as a sick individual, a serial killer without the flamboyance of previous iterations. He just wears a plain leather mask and costume with a question mark drawn on his chest. He is often shown breathing heavily, getting aroused by the deeds he does, though he claims to do those for the good of his city. He reminds us more of killers in thriller movies like Silence of the Lambs as of a supervillain, all part of the more realism approach. Add to that the fact that the movie takes its time to tell the story. Reveals, like the first time you see Batman on screen, are not rushed but slow and atmospheric. In this movie people don't run, they walk slowly, adding to the hopelessness and depressing tone, which is intended. It is a good movie, but I needed a bit of time to adjust to the slower tempo and the overall feeling of it all, going into the movie with completely different expectations. There are a handful funny moments, but they could be counted on one hand. The serious tone doesn't allow for the usual light-hearted fun you associate with a superhero movie, not even the more toned down version Zack Snyder showed us, which was already more depressing. There's nothing here to make you laugh, by design, though the slowlessness in some scenes almost felt comically overstylized, which made me smirk. This rhythm resulted in the movie being roughly 3 hours long, while it likely would have been almost an hour shorter if the story was told in a more traditional way. Basically, it comes down to your personal taste. If you buy into the approach and the style, you will like the movie a lot. If you can't get on board with the slower pace and the depressing feeling, you are in the wrong movie. We can assume that this will split audiences a lot, and more than with most other movies of its kind. Before I let you know where I land in this equation, let me ask you to like and share this video if you enjoyed it so far. And if you are no subscriber yet, maybe consider to change that. By also hitting the notification bell, you will get a heads up for most of my new videos. Now for the rating. I liked the movie, but I guess I didn't love it. As mentioned, it took a bit of time to open myself up to the unexpected approach of storytelling in a Batman movie. But I adapted quickly enough and enjoyed it for being different from prior versions. There were some things that made me smile, like the scene where Batman, still not the experienced crime fighter and not that familiar with his own gadgets, was base jumping with his wingsuit, completely miscalculating the landing in best jackass fashion. He wasn't hurt by that at all though, which was not a perfect fit for the more realistic approach. Same with his suit being literally bulletproof and he being unharmed, just knocked out by a bomb exploding in front of his face. The acting is solid and the camera work created some gorgeous images and scenery. As mentioned, the movie was super serious and took itself super serious, which created some moments for me where that slightly entered into the realm of unintentional funny. Same with some of the dialogue.
I'm vengeance.
I think the biggest issue I had with the movie was this. They completely concentrated on telling you the story slowly, more realistic and in a noir fashion, but the story was just not that interesting. The main story and the mystery were the movie's weakest points. If the story would have been a match to the way it was told, we might have had something really great at hand. The main thing that kept me interested was the visual language and the scenery. The story was really bland and not really engaging, and in a detective movie, a good story is one of the most important elements. It also didn't help that the main villain's agenda at the end switched completely without any reason. If the story would have been as captivating as the style, I would have loved the movie and 8 or 9 points would have been the outcome at least. As is, the film gets a still solid 7 out of 10 points from me, with a slight tendency downwards even. So if you watch it, be sure to know what to expect and allow it to wash over you. If you are able to do so, the movie comes recommended. That's it. Have you seen the movie? How did you like the atmosphere? Would you have scored it differently? Let me know in the comments. So much for now, see you next time and thanks for watching.